Welcome y'all to the Sick of This show. It is Nick and Frederick Pogue coming at you live with Fred Wellman.
Two Freds.
Special
Two
guest.
Freds.
It's the Fred Fred show. It's the Fred Squared show.
That's it. It's the Fred Squared show. There
Not
it is.
one Fred, two Freds. Go.
Two
My
Freds for the price of one.
We got Scooby Doo and we got the Freds. So, and this is really special for me because I've been wanting to get Fred
Same.
Wellman online, not just Fred Pogue, because I get Fred Pogue all the time. He's now my bearded wizard brother.
I gotta grow my beard out. My beard out.
do.
You guys are making me look bad.
Well, you gotta make Josh Hawley look bad too.
Yeah, well,
dude, you're in, as they say in the military. You meet the standard.
Thank you.
You
I had
Fred.
a real bushy. I had the mountain man thing going like you guys, and then my fiance is like, "Yeah, no, that's not working for me." And I got one woman on earth to please. I'm like, "All right, whatever you want, man."
Hey,
that's
the woman you gotta. She says it's what goes, baby.
Yeah, exactly. So
right.
So before we go any further, everybody here, please subscribe to Fred Wellman. He's amazing. He's he is the host of On Democracy on the Midas Touch. He's the host of Hot Seats on the Midas Touch. He is the host of Too Late to Cancel on the On Democracy Network on Midas Touch. Well, on Democracy channel.
Yeah.
And I go to the Too Late to Cancel all the time. It's such a fun show. He brings
and we got
joy.
I love the chat. We have the nicest community going around Too Late to Cancel that I love every Sunday morning. It's like Vern from Canada, and we all I'll bust my balls about how every week we screw something up. That's why we call it Too Late. We call it Too Late to Cancel because every week me and JJ, the producer, are like, well, we fucked that up. I guess it's too late to cancel. It's just
I love the fact that like AI is a thing now because my laziness for proofreading properly is working in my favor because they're like, oh, we can tell you wrote this because of all the typos.
I put a Substack out yesterday. And someone was like, I can't read your stuff because there's too many typos. Like, oh, and me being me, I was like, gee, thanks, it's free. And then I read it again, and oh my God, do I owe an apology? I literally meant to go back today and say, I was kind of a dick there, but you're right. There's some massive typos in this thing, But hey, I went to Harvard.
It's that Harvard education.
That's what it is.
It's that old Ivy education versus the new Ivy education.
Well, I think it's the old brain is just fried, is what it is. So
I got a rail on Harvard because I went to Carnegie Mellon, and we're one of the new Ivies. Yeah. So y'all old Ivies can just like go be. Before spell check was a thing.
Y'all some bougie fools, man. I went to East Tennessee State University, regional public school. Come on now.
Where's ETSU? Where's that?
It is in Johnson City, Tennessee. So
Johnson City, I know. I was in Fort Campbell for 7 years, so Tennessee is like my second home.
There you go. Yeah, we're right near the southwestern Virginia border, and then right on the western North Carolina. Yeah, we're not too far from there.
Well, you should drive through all the time on the way from Virginia to Tennessee or Missouri. We lower out to Missouri, so it's fun.
Oh yeah,
that's the scenic route to Missouri. So but beautiful area. So
hugely. Now I've driven,
fellas.
There's a few things going on. I mean, nothing major.
I heard.
I don't know. Not a lot.
Speaking of Missouri, apparently the state supermajority just decided, hey, all these things that the voters wanted in this last election, all the stuff they voted for, like maternity, expanded leave, this, that. Yeah, we don't want to do that. We're just going to throw that out. We're just going to throw the will of the people straight out in Missouri. What are your thoughts on that, Fred?
We've got a Republican supermajority, which for those who understand, it means they don't even need the Democrats to show up. We don't have one of those states. I know like in Texas, the Democrats flee the state, the business stops, but in Missouri, the Constitution allows that. So essentially we've got a legislature that can do whatever the F they want. And they do. And we also have the initiative petition program here where you can put on things on the ballot. And we passed, but it's the problem. There's a loophole in it. Basically, they still have to pass laws to back it. And they've decided that when stuff passes 65% of the people, they're going to ignore it anyway. And it's really a real disconnect we've got here. They're actually trying to do they're trying to do an initiative petition now that says you can't ignore initiative petitions. But I'm like, it's just, I said, and I love it. I do. But I also think it's like a doom loop. You guys don't talk about it as veterans, especially. It's like, you're just kind of cycling in it. And my view is let's just get rid of the supermajority. So these assholes can't do whatever they want. And I would like to see our money candidly spent. And I love the folks doing these things, but I would really like to spend my time and money getting more Democrats elected and then running. And that means running, really good high quality candidates, ups ticket to comes down ticket, investing in these races. We're not in the national radar. A joke I make a lot here is I'm in Missouri's 2nd district and we have Representative Ann Wagner, and Ann has not held a town hall since she was elected 13 years ago. And so it's bad enough that the state is treated like flyover country, but when your own representative treats it like flyover country, and that's the state. They don't even have to worry about it. They're guaranteed they're going to get reelected. It's a rubber stamp. At least they think they are. So we're seeing seeds of change. This area is, matter of fact, Missouri too is a DCCC target race this time. So we're hoping it puts them in. But my God, the things they pull, just the same thing they had Governor Keogh, the new governor. He did some line item veto. Basically, he got rid of the funding for a new airport terminal at the St. Louis International Airport, which we desperately need. If you've ever been to St. Louis Lambert Field, and instead they're going to give $800 million to the owners of the Kansas City Chiefs to build a new fucking stadium. And so they got rid of $300 million of capital gains taxes to the rich. So the rich people don't have to pay taxes on their stock trades anymore. So we've really got an oligarchy, and one of the things you guys read my writing, and I talk about the new Gilded Age. Missouri in so many ways is a microcosm of America, and always has been. By the way, there's a wonderful book I think it's upstairs on my desk called the Bleeding Heart of America that's about St. Louis. But it's kind of like us veterans, right? Some of the things we say as veterans is veterans have problems, but in many ways, they're just a microcosm of American problems. We don't own PTSD. We're only 8% of PTSD sufferers in America. We don't own losing limbs. We don't own, being cancer, So it's the same with Missouri. Missouri, in many ways, is a microcosm of the national issues. We've got a Republican Party that feels like they're untouchable, that they can keep doing. You didn't even mention the fact they're talking about having a special session in September to redistrict a state that only has 2 Democratic votes. Now statewide, Democrats took 45% of the vote in the last election, 45%. Yep. But they're going to redistrict it down to 1 Democratic district in the whole state. And so, which is what, 85%. They're literally just saying, fuck you to everybody. And so I don't know if they're reading the tea leaves right. I think people, like a lot of the country, there's a real frustration with the powers that be. There's a real frustration with being ignored by the people who are supposed to be taken care of, right? And I think very much that I really do think this populism that you saw like Mamdani in New York and you're seeing in others is gonna bite these assholes in the ass and bite them in the butt. And I'm here and I'm loud and noisy and I intend to be throwing red meat to the crowd is going to bite them in the ass because I really think they're misreading not just the Democrats but even their own Republicans.
Oh, 100%. And touching base on some, so I have an aviation background. I was an operations manager for American Airlines.
Love it.
And absolutely take this a little self-serving what I'm about to say. So Boeing says that we're going to have 50,000 more planes in the sky by 2024 or 2044. We're going to need 1 million more flight crews by that time in order to keep up with demand. So the fact that Missouri said, oh, let's give it to the Kansas City Chiefs instead of another terminal. And a big driver for that growth is going to be these quote unquote third world countries whose economies are rising, who are getting more business. And now it's being exacerbated with the Trump tariffs that are pushing business away from us.
Yep.
Right. So basically, as the globe is getting more interconnected, we're getting more isolated and we're making bad choices in not developing infrastructure, and it's going to affect states that, especially with this redistricting they're talking about, it's just going to exacerbate this problem. Right.
Yep.
And, and I hope people wake up to it. I want,
well, it's about the public good. I mean, look, if I'm paying taxes, it needs to be for the public good. That's it.
Yes.
The Hunt family is one of the richest families in Missouri and Kansas for that matter. And they're also one of the most hardcore Christian nationalist families in the state. They've been involved in this scandal with this camp where kids were being abused. I mean, it's just disgusting that taxpayer money is being handed to the richest people in the state, while the people who really need economic development and help are being shit on again. And that's all they do. They shit on Kansas City and they shit on fucking St. Louis. And when it fails, when things go wrong, it's kind of like what they're doing to the VA, right? When it finally fails, they're going to say, "Well, we tried to help," and they're not. They're truly attacking everything we stand for. And so St. Louis is out here in isolation. The county's out here in isolation, trying to make ends meet. And these people are doing nothing to help us. I mean, again, we need a better terminal so we can be. St. Louis was until recently a great convention destination. Well, we need. I mean, and the proof in the pudding. They had a Christian. I believe I think it was a Lutheran conference. Forgive me, I'm not sure, but it was a Christian conference at the convention center. And when it ended on Sunday, there were lines at the southwest corner terminal out the door and down the street to the highway, like planes, trains, and automobiles, because it's too fucking small to process all these people. So the next time those people have a convention, they're not going to pick St. Louis because they can't get people in and out. And what does our governor do? He says, fuck you. And so it's just getting ridiculous, and that's before we talk about healthcare cuts, before we talk about the NIH grants destroying our medical research at Washington University, one of the top research universities in the country. It's just there's this they're openly attacking the things that keep this place going, and it's short-sighted, of course. They think they're so clever, but good luck with your tax revenue when there's no fucking industry and there's no business.
Yes. And I'll take it to where I'm at, because I'm not too far from Fred. I'm in Northwest Arkansas.
Yeah.
I'm in Steve Womack's 3rd District of Arkansas. And Tom Cotton, who I watched your hot seat with Halleck Schuffner, and that was awesome.
Yeah,
and if you're in the Arkansas area, please come support her. I'm gonna try and reach out to her some more again too, because I'd love to have her on.
I'm just gonna jump in real quick, Nick, and say I've got both of you beat. My rep in Colorado 4, Lauren Boebert. I've got Lauren Boebert.
Nice.
We'll Beetlejuice it.
Hands down. You know what I'm saying? Sorry.
Or was it hands up?
All I know, just say it. Say it 3 times. Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice.
That's not the Beetlejuice you want showing up.
But anyways, back to Arkansas.
Like, how do we get, because I'm in a really red area, and I talk a lot now on the shows about like getting locally involved and what we can do on the local level to really make an impact, not as Democrats so much. Yes, because we want Democrats to win, but also as just Americans, as in the idea of re-engaging in civics and what civics really mean. Can you talk a little bit about that, on like what it means to be civically engaged for like purposeful things for us to be able to do?
That's such a great question. I wish I had an easy answer. Sorry, I was staring at our chat. Civic engagement to me. So this is what I'm learning, and I've been getting involved here. And I've never done a protest in my life. You guys, look at this. I mean, I'm like, and I've done like 5 now in the last 6 months. We've got a nice organizer going here. People saying, Indivisible and 5051 and others. I was involved in. If you don't know, I was involved at Unite for Veterans, which was a protest we had in the National Mall. And I got to tell you, it works. And how do we know it works? Well, Unite for Veterans, our 3 issues were saving the VA from being destroyed, protecting veterans' benefits, and then protect the Constitution. They're going to lay off 70,000 people from VA. They decided not to. They're still laying off 30,000, so that doesn't count. But they did back off because the heat was strong, and it made them think. So as much as Trump is an authoritarian, as much as he's hired a bunch of freaking idiots, if you will, to be on his, to be in his cabinet, in the end, our voices still do make a difference. Trump doesn't like negative press. His minions don't like negative press. JD Vance still thinks he's going to be president someday, as does Tom Cotton, as does, all these people. And so being civic engaged for me right now, one, means actually engaging, being present in your district. People always ask me, Fred, how can I get involved? You're on the Midas Touch, you're the former Lincoln Project, all these things. What can I tell my people in Washington? Tell them at home. Civic starts at home. Local government, go to your local government, show up at City Hall because there's no media anywhere anymore. They're not covering civil, they're not covering City Hall. Go down there and see for your own self what's going on. When people have protests, show up. It does matter. And so I do think if we hold our elected officials accountable, even that so many of them think they're untouchable, but they're not. And they're scared, which is why like Ann Wagner is, being targeted here because she's avoided her own people. So I feel very strongly that in this era, if you want to be anti-fascist, what you want to call yourself, it does start at home. And home is where you can truly make a difference. And then, support a candidate. I always joke, I'm sure if you guys watch the show, there's not a show I don't say, there's not a candidate on fucking earth that doesn't need you to volunteer. You just go like this and go race, like, oh, city council, he needs help. Congress, oh, that fucker needs help. And they're literally has never been a candidate for any fucking office ever that didn't need, volunteers or even
Right.
So, organizing, canvassing. I mean, it's scary as hell knocking on those doors, but you got to do it. Phone calls, postcards. Notice I didn't mention money. Money is awesome. But again, especially this cycle is going to be an all hands on deck where we're knocking on doors and having conversations with fellow Americans, MAGA or not. I had beer with a guy 2 weeks ago who we couldn't be more diametrically opposed on almost everything, but he's a fellow veteran of ours. We served in the 101st Airborne together. He kind of criticized me very harshly and posted my address online one time. And he doesn't live far from it. We discovered we served in the 101st together. We started talking from there that, you know what, we used to hang out at the Black Horse Pub in Clarksville. Yeah, I did too. That was my favorite hangout. And from there, we discovered that our values were very similar in many ways, although we expressed them in different ways. And he said a lovely thing to me. I told him, I apologize for being kind of a dick online because I had my moments. But lots of moments. But we kind of said, I respect the fact that we share similar values as veterans, and we started from there. And I think we share, it's become sort of a trope these days, but I do believe we as Americans have more shared values and things that we believe in than we don't at this point. And if we could find our way back to going to a Cardinals baseball game and sitting in the cheap seats and not having any fucking idea what the guys on the left and right of you stand for politically, just watch a game and have a laugh and go to Ted Drew's or whatever it is here in St. Louis. I think we can find our way back to America that we all dreamed of. But in the meantime, we've got a future for our kids and Gen Z and Gen X and now Gen Alpha that I can't make the promise of American dream that we had when we were kids, guys. Like, I had a house at 29. I had 4 kids in a house when I was 29. My 28-year-old son he's no longer a bartender, but he was a bartender a couple of years ago, full-time on his feet all day, school-trained bartender, one of the best restaurants in his city. We went to get him medical coverage during the ACA open window. He qualified for Medicaid. So the idea that people are being told they're lazy if they're on Medicaid or they're not working enough, that they know they need to go get a job that's got healthcare in it. I'm sorry, local restaurants don't offer healthcare, and hardworking people can't afford to get anything else. So we have to understand that Americans can no longer afford the American dream we were promised, and it isn't the price of eggs. It's the price of every fucking thing in that shopping cart. You know what I mean? It's not, there's this, that's why I kind of get mad. I don't know if you saw my piece I wrote recently where I kind of beat the Dems up saying, it's not the price of eggs. It's not the price of beef. You guys keep latching on to the current thing that's expensive. The problem is it's all gone up 107 fucking percent since 2003. Okay.
Yeah.
The whole thing, and so rent's gone up 207% or some ridiculous numbers. Like, if you're not addressing that, because eggs are going to go back down a little bit. And Trump's going to say, see, look, I made the eggs go down. So we stop latching on to these little blips and start understanding that average Americans know that when they go to buy barbecue shit for a weekend, it didn't used to cost 70 goddamn dollars.
No.
And it does now. Right. No. And so I really do think if we start that conversation at the local level in your Aldi or your Kroger, maybe we could start having a better civic conversation as Americans and start saying, you know what? We're in the same boat. Like, look, man, I'm not rich. I'm just a regular dude. I've had hard times. I've had very hard times. I've lost my business during the pandemic. We're all in the same boat, and it's not great right now.
Yeah, no. And I don't remember if it was you who said it exactly or somebody else I was talking to who said it was we have to pin the problems on the people who are making them and name them. Like,
yeah.
In our area in Arkansas, We rely on Walmart. Our entire economy is
Right.
Walmart. We're literally a corporate town without the name. Like everything is blue, yellow, and gold of Walmart here. They bought up everything. They hustle everybody out. They threaten our local
Yep.
grocery store. If they build a new one, they're going to build a super center right next door. And the grocery store finally said, yeah, we don't give a shit. We just need a new grocery store. And they're doing it. And Walmart's building a super center right next door. And it's stupid. But they just voted to destroy our entire economy. And then what they don't see are the secondary and tertiary ramifications, those second and third order effects of when that hospital closes. It's not just the folks in the hospital who go away. It's not just the nurses and doctors. It's the kids. It's the kids from those who their parents worked at the hospital, now don't go to school. So your teachers leave. When your teachers leave, your school shuts down. Now what do you have? You don't have fucking anything other than maybe a church, or that maybe if your church offers a private school, but now you're getting a religious education if you can afford it. So what are your thoughts on?
And it gets better though. Do you know what I don't know if you know, but Bernie Sanders had the GAO do a study in 2020 of what were the top employers who have employees on federal assistance. At that time, now not all, I caveat this conversation because not all states report, but the reporting they had that GAO was able to access. Guess what the number one business with people on federal assistance was? Walmart.
Number two,
Walmart. It was Amazon or McDonald's.
Dollar General.
It was actually three. It was Walmart, McDonald's, Dollar General, Amazon, and Kroger. That was the five. And so get a job, what are rural employers?
The major employers in the South too.
Right. McDonald's. I mean, that's literally the top three rural employers: Walmart, Dollar General, and McDonald's. Those are the employers in many towns. So when they talk about these mythical kids who are 29 years old playing video games, no, they're not. There's no fucking jobs, and they look down on people, and they think they're less. And like I said, my son had a full-time job and still ended up, so it's like we're really in this disconnect world. I call it, like I said, that gilded fucking age of where people think they look down on people who are just trying to. There was a time when we were trying to get ahead, and they keep lying to us. Well, those kids should be picking crops. Oh yeah, okay, that's exactly. Except the farmers aren't even breaking even anymore. That's what Hallie Schaffner said. Hallie Schaffner in Arkansas, she lost her 6th generation farm because they weren't making any money anymore, and tariffs aren't helping. And so I've been studying Missouri too a lot. And the number one employer in the district is healthcare. Number 2 is manufacturing. Number 3 is business owners. It's like the fucking 1, 2, 3 trifecta of all the things being targeted by the Trump administration and this stupid big ugly bill. And our like I said, our rep Ann Wagner signed off on it, and she just loves it all because they got their tax break. I mean, the median income is $99,000 for the district. At that rate, the tax breaks at best is $1,800 to $2,200. Our energy costs alone are going to go up $1,000 a month, right? We know that because the district, and that's in Missouri for sure. Okay, we know ACAs could possibly go up. Even people on the ACA this year is going to go up 75%. So if you're on the exchange, there's an increase of 75%. If you have a student loan,
that's a massive number.
Massive.
75% is massive.
It's like double. It's almost double, right? And so then we're going to talk about student loan processing is going to be allowed to go up $2,000 a year. Okay, so just those 3 things. If you're a family of student loans or ACA, healthcare, and that because you're told to get off Medicaid, guess what? Thanks to the tax break, that means nothing. Okay, it's literally like the thing about like Doge and these guys saving money. It's literally like the way to save money on a road trip is just not to buy gas.
Just break down.
You'll be fine.
Just get out and push the car.
Look, guys, I saved $500 because we didn't get gas for the road trip. Like, but you don't
it's like
right now.
We didn't buy lunch. We got garbage out of the garbage bin.
Yeah.
I mean, I got botulism and I was in the hospital for 2 weeks and I got a $10,000 hospital bill, but I saved money on lunch.
Because I just ate the fucking squirrel off the street. This is Republican thinking right now. And I tell you, they know. Okay, average people know because average people got to pay these fucking bills. and they can't. It is a very, that's why I think, and that's before we talk about the food crisis that's coming in September, probably because of the fact we can't harvest our crops, we can't pick our crops, we can't pick the vegetables in California, which is the backbone of this country. Farmers aren't going to have the workers they need. Construction is going to collapse. There's a backlog, the highest backlog of housing backlog now since the last collapse of housing. They are creating a massive crisis that's going to come around just in time for the fucking midterms. And I intend to be one of the people making sure that everyone's aware who caused that crisis.
100%.
Yeah.
When I was back in 2012, when I was a political organizer, I was in East Tennessee working for both local Democrats and the OFA. Right.
Yeah.
And we were doing research, deep canvassing, setting up all this stuff. And we noticed the poverty rate from 2003 up to that point was going up 1% year over year.
Yeah.
And so it's only gotten worse since I left and I went and got a career and I, did aviation and I, lived a whole bunch of other places. Michigan, Philadelphia, DCA, LA. And I watched the place that I used to organize in, that I lived for most of my life. People were on the rooftops in Irwin, Tennessee when Helene came through and washed away what little they had left. And it wasn't much. And then, then you demonize with FEMA. And now Trump's telling them, hey, you got enough aid. You're good.
Yeah.
And so it's not only are we dealing with systemic problems that have been going on, right, for decades. Now they're coming, like, to your point, Fred, is they're hammering down even harder on this.
Right.
And to me, we're at this tipping point. I don't think there's more, because it's, again, the point with the Walmart stuff or the Dollar General and the Medicaid, folks need to understand that's our tax dollars that are paying for those employees' health insurance. And then meanwhile, the Walton family gets to buy my Denver Broncos,
right?
With that profit instead of paying their employees' health insurance.
Yeah.
So
and that's
building on this, what do you think about the idea of because they're attacking the fundamental systems that make up America, and what is your idea on pushing back on that for what can we do as individuals right now to really get engaged?
Well, I circle back to what I said at the beginning, right? There's clearly a movement afoot of people stepping up and individuals banging out with protests and using our voices to be heard. They fled. There's a reason they fled Capitol Hill with the Epstein files, right? Because people are clamoring and they stumbled into a freaking minefield of their own making with their own followers. So I think everything we do to add to the fuel to the fire, and then we need to find really good candidates who can run and make a difference and raise money and we need to do something. Here you go, run for something.net. God damn, you're good, Nick.
On top of that,
run for something. Run, and it really does mean anything. It means city council. It means school board. It means your local commission, your county commission. It really does mean that, because that's where people's lives are really happening. And in the meantime, like I said, I don't mean to repeat myself, but support again. I'm not saying money. Look, I don't have a shit ton of money to spend on. I know everything's I'm rich because I'm on YouTube, but you're wrong. Yeah,
we know
that being a 60-year-old influencer.
It's every dad's dream.
Having said that, put your ass in the fight, right? I mean, it is about getting your ass out. Look, I was not comfortable the first time I did a protest. This is weird to me. And then I found out I freaking loved it, because it's just like being back in the military. You guys know, running up and down the line. I mean, I remember the night before going to Iraq. Every time, because I did it twice. Yeah, the second time I invaded Iraq. I liked it so much I kept going back to invade it again.
I had to try it the second time.
Yeah, so I was a battalion operations officer, and I remember going down the line, visiting every tent, and talking to the troops and riling them up, and going into we had the Pathfinder platoon for the 101st Airborne. The guys that got the Mohawks, they were carving Mohawks in their heads because infantrymen are nuts, and but it was fun to rally the troops and say, hey, we're here. And the one thing we said for Unite for Veterans was be peaceful and patriotic. And look, I know it's fun to say, I see Cat, the resistance. I agree. It's a little cliche now. I will never encourage violence. And I tell the story, I'm sure if you followed me for more than a day, I tell the story of Iraq. I have seen what happens when violence is the answer, the solution to politics. I've seen it. My interpreter was beheaded. My doctor was assassinated in the clinic I built for him. My partner at the Joint Headquarters was assassinated. We stepped out of his house by a guy on a motorcycle. I know exactly what happens when politics becomes violent. We don't want it in America. Having said that, we need to do all law. We have not exhausted our peaceful means of resistance and peaceful means of organizing yet. And until do so, I don't want to ever, I will never, ever, ever encourage anyone to violence. Ever, ever, ever. But we can stand on the roads and make a shit ton of noise. We can stand outside their office and make them humiliated to show up. We can remind them that we see their failures and what they're doing. We can use the dollars we have to donate to campaigns that are make a difference, not just look. I know if every, and the thing is, everybody says, oh, we wasted $30 million on Margie Taylor Greene's race or Jamie Harrison. Look, hindsight's always that way. I do encourage you to, I encourage you to invest in races that do have a chance. But if we just invested in the big winners, I encourage you to invest in that little race in your district. Look, I'm telling you, we did the research. I was with an organization for a while called It Starts Today / Forgotten Democrats, and they're the parent organization for Blue Missouri and Blue Ohio. And they did the research to show that $200,000 is sort of the break line of an effective congressional campaign. That if a candidate can raise $200,000 or more, they can do at least the basics of a campaign, signs, campaign team, a little bit of advertising.
Are you talking national or local?
For Congress, for a congressional race, for a single district in Congress. And believe it or not, last cycle, less than half of them made that, so find a congressional race, invest in them. And the big dogs don't want to invest in races that are 20 point R plus 19. But this is a year of change. Like everybody I'm talking to shows that this is just like the 2018 year where like Mikey Sherrill flipped her district by 20 points that had been held by a Republican, Ruben Gallego. I mean, if you look at the class of 2018, that this was like that. That was Trump's midterm. This one's worse. I believe in my heart that, and everybody keeps throwing the polls at me, you guys. Like, well, the Democrats, they're not popular by 30. They only have 30-point approval. But do they? Do they? Or is it the Democrats in DC? Is it the people like the Bidens, and God bless them? And is it the people who, and hopefully nobody's watching, is it the people who decided to have a fundraiser this weekend on Martha's Vineyard for the Democratic Party? Okay,
I don't know anybody on Martha's.
We're fighting an oligarchy right now, right? Like our whole thing is like, oh, billionaires are taking over. So someone decided we should hold a fundraiser on Martha's Vineyard. Okay, so when the Democratic Party has 30% approval, is it maybe that? Or is it your local candidate like Mamdani, who definitely does not have a 30% approval rating? Is it Abigail Spanberger in Virginia, who definitely is beating Winsome Sears by like 20, 30 points? Okay. Yep. No. And so when people count the Democratic Party out and say, oh, I'm going to run as an independent because everybody hates Democrats. Do they? Or do you hate the current ones? Or do they hate the ones who are in charge? Do they hate the people who are over in their 80s and decide to run yet again in their 80s? Okay. So I think if we run good candidates, I think if we invest in good candidates, we invest in races everywhere, we could take this back. And then when we're no longer the minority in the House of Representatives, we do some really cool shit. And I have never mentioned impeaching Donald Trump. If we just run on impeaching Donald Trump, we're going to lose our asses. We need to provide, the Democrats need to provide a vision for America, a vision that's not this, okay? A vision that includes affordable groceries cards, a vision that includes affordable health care, and a vision that includes taking on, and it's not big pharma. It's the PMP, it's the managers, it's that middle management guys. Take them on. Why is there an entire business based on talking between you and your pharmacist? Okay, why is there an entire industry? The only place in the world where there's an entire industry that gets to take money for doing fucking nothing but being in the way. That's real reform. We need to get rid of political gerrymandering. We need to get rid of corporate fucking PACs. And I'll tell you, if the Democrats run on those things, I believe that average Americans say, yeah, You know what the fuck? And we have a chance. And I'm cussing a lot. I apologize. Is this a cussing show, Nick?
This is a cussing.
We're all
You didn't
veterans.
tell me
bro.
it was or
We're all
not.
veterans.
I know my followers are like, yeah, it's Fred. He's just
Yeah, it's
We're all
Fred.
veterans.
Fred's lucky I haven't made fun of him at all. You're lucky I haven't made fun of you at all this show. I do it all the time in our chats.
Well, we're all Army. You guys, I did. I appreciate that. I interviewed Brian Banks. He's running for South Dakota senator. He's actually running as an independent. And Brian is a Navy veteran and retired from the Air Force after that. And boy, did I bust his nuts about that.
Well, wow. I just want to clarify something. You guys are Army. I like my crayons. I'm a United States Marine, so let's just go there.
You said it was navy blue you liked the best, right?
Listen, you can't confirm or deny that. So don't even
Yeah,
that's it.
He's one of them.
That's it.
My dad was a Marine. He's a great American, World War II Marine. And I got told getting cut to my head. My phone's almost dead because I forgot to charge it. God bless you. My dad, so when I was in high school here in Kirkwood, Missouri, my hometown, like 6 miles away from me, my dad encouraged me to apply for Marine ROTC as I applied at University of Missouri. At the same time, I was applying for West Point. And the Marine thing was kind of weird. I don't know what happened. I was a state champion swimmer. I was, all the things, right? So I did like a PT test in downtown St. Louis, which went disastrously badly with some like a Lance Corporal, like we just went running, and that was my PT test. And he didn't like me at all. Cocky, like high school kids. Anyway. Flash forward, I get accepted to West Point. That year, West Point had 10,000 applications. This is the height of the Reagan. We're talking 1983, Reagan era. Patriotism was cool again. 10,000 people applied to West Point. I got in. I was one of 1,000 people to get in. 2 weeks after I get into West Point, I get this tattered letter that had been missent somewhere. And I open it, and it's from the Marines saying, dear Mr. Wellman, we're sorry to tell you, you're not going to get it. We couldn't give you a scholarship. We were overwhelmed with like 2,000 applications for only like 1,300 positions. Something like, I'm not shitting you. This is a true story. And I do make shit up because I am a pilot. I'm a helicopter pilot. This is a true story. And my dad lost his shit. I mean, it was like, he literally wrote a letter to the Commandant of the Marine Corps and say, the kid got into West Point.
What do you mean there's not space for him here?
So my point is, and Fred, you'll appreciate this. My point is, I was smart enough to get into West Point, but not the Marines. So,
well, here's something else. So my sister was a ring knocker, class of 2001. That was my sister.
Yeah.
So she's West Point.
She's a baby.
Yeah.
1987, man.
Yeah. See, there you go.
I got my Ranger tab. I'm like Tom Cotton. I'm Ranger qualified. I try not to rub it in people's faces, but it's I did my tough guy shit. It was fun, but it was a good life.
All I remember about the Marine Corps is when I was 51, so I blew up things, and we had some Air Force EOD guys with us. And they were saying, "Oh yeah, we all got extra money for inadequate housing," and we were all like, "What?" And they're like, "Well, yeah, we get money for inadequate housing because we're staying in Marine barracks. Don't you guys get that?" And we're like, "No, we're Marines.
We just get housing."
That's fair. There's no golf course. Yeah, I know. I get it. Yeah, that is the way it is too. But I know as an aviator, and still, it's crazy. But that was a good life. It served me well. I did 22 years and. Like I said, we'll keep going back to Iraq because I love the food so much. But
hey, why not?
I love me some good kebabs, fellas. I mean, that's the best kebab in the Middle East.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. Meat on a stick, Yeah, it's great.
Okay,
can't beat it. All right,
Fred,
gentlemen.
I don't want to keep you too long. I know we've
gone a
little bit over our half hour. I'm glad you're giving us
this
time.
is what I do.
We could probably spend a day just talking.
You guys know me, I'm never on time for anything.
Yeah, but I wanted to workshop something because you talked about slogans and like meaning, having meaning behind what we're doing. And I've been workshopping this slogan around a little bit. Frederick knows about this one, is RISE. Because I think it gives motion and movement to what we're doing. And the slogan is because we can rise as Americans, and it's restoring integrity, service, and ethics. And I think that's something that we can push home. It's the simple topics of what really is the heart of American moral society and American civic society and political society is integrity, service, and ethics. And we've lost them. So Fred, if you want to steal that for anything, you're more than welcome to
Well, what I steal it for? I'm not
workshop it
doing
with
anything.
us.
I'm just an online influencer.
But if you want to send it along to the Mightiest Mighty, to
All
the
right.
Democratic National Party, get it out there for us. We want to rise as Americans because that's what we are. We're Americans. It's a community. Democracy is a community sport.
And look, it is, and look, we're not. I talk about my tattoo a lot, right? I'm not done yet, right? And we're not done yet. I mean, every time I got this tattoo, because every time I was knocked down, I thought, you know what, I'm not done yet. And I think that's our kind. That's what my speech at the Unite for Veterans was. That it was like, look, it's easy to get knocked down. We've just been knocked down. This is not what my dream is. It's not what I want for my kids. It's not what I want for my country. But it's not what we fought for in any way. But you know what? We're tough suckers, Americans, and we'll figure our shit out. And it may get ugly, but we will figure our shit out. And it won't be Donald Trump and Republicans who are giving more millions to more millionaires and more billions to billionaires. It's our fucking country. And until all of us figure that out, we're just gonna have to keep on doing, like you said, with the rise. We'll have to fight together, peacefully and patriotically. So
exactly, always peaceful,
gentlemen,
always patriotic.
Man, this was so much fun. We'll have to do it again. I appreciate it.
Yeah, let's do it again.
Where can people find you outside of Substack? Because I know pretty much everyone's
I'm everywhere. I'm kind of
now.
FP Wellman everywhere. Frederick Paul Wellman, FP Wellman on Twitters, on Blue Sky, FP Wellman on Instagram. I'm FP Wellman official. That's where you can always find me. Of course, the On Democracy channel. We've actually created a website for all of our stuff called toolatetocancel.com, which is our Sunday show. Is called Too Late to Cancel every Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern. My show is every Friday night. The Midas Touch Network at 7 p.m. Eastern. The hot seats are doing numbers right now, you guys. It's wonderful. Like 400,000 views of talking to candidates who are running for office. I just love talking to these candidates. I've made so many good friends and so many win. Andy Kim won and Lisa Blunt Rochester won. It's kind of cool when the people you talk to.
Now we need Kat Abigail to win.
Yeah, Kat be great. Well, she's got a shot now. So those are great to catch on Midas Touch. They're putting, it's kind of periodic kind of thing, but they're on my playlist. I'm Midas Touch. So, kind of everywhere. I'm like a virus. You can't get rid of me. So
good. We don't want to get rid of you. We want more of this Fred virus.
Oh God,
yes,
100% going on right now.
100%.
Thank you.
So let's end this as we always do. Fred, thank you so much for coming on with us.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it, Frederick. Thanks for hosting with me again.
Of course,
I always say at the end of every show now, and I'll add it in, is let's rise as Americans, but let's stop being sick of this shit and start doing this shit.
100%.
Well done.
Thanks, y'all. Have a great day.
See you, fellas.
Have a good one. Bye-bye.